Issa Amro. Issa Amro is a Palestinian activist based in AlKhaleel in the West Bank. He is the co-founder and former coordinator of the grassroots group Youth Against Settlements. Amro advocates the use of nonviolent resistance to fight the Israeli occupation of the Palestinian Territories. In 2010, he was declared Human Rights Defender of the Year in Palestine by the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. In 2013, the United Nations Human Rights Council expressed concern for his well-being and safety due to numerous accounts of harassment from Israeli soldiers and settlers and a series of arbitrary arrests. Last year, he was awarded the Right Livelihood Award, known as the alternative Nobel Peace Prize, and the New York Times called him the Palestinian Gandhi. Marhaba, Isa. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me and organizing this. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to talk to you and to your followers and to our friends and supporters all over the world.
We are very honored to have you with us today. I'm going to just start off with a question. If you can start by sharing a bit about your early life in AlKhaleel and what it was like growing up under occupation, and what it was like, what it was like growing up under occupation.
I am 45 years old. All my life was under the Israeli military occupation. I was born on 1980. After I was born on April 13th. In May something, the occupation imposed curfew on my city, and my father was not able to buy the basics for our family. So since I was born, we are under curfew, we are under separation, under occupation, under army aggression, under army oppression, and under apartheid. So my childhood was that I was busy playing soccer, football, and study hard in my school. Until, to be very honest, my family wanted me to really take care of my education, and they disconnected me from any kind of politics. As any other family, they want to protect their children from the Israeli military and from the Israeli violent settlers. Until the Ibrahimi Mosque massacre, I didn't feel the presence of the settlers in my city. In 1994, Baruch Goldstein, an American, Israeli, Jewish army doctor, broke into the Ibrahimi Mosque. He killed 29 Palestinians and hundreds were injured. The result of that massacre was that I didn't go to my school for 3 months. We were the victims. So I was not allowed to go to my school for 3 months because of the Israeli military curfew and movement restrictions on the Palestinians. After the massacre, they divided the mosque, they confiscated all the external yards. And this is what they want to do in Al-Aqsa Mosque as well. They want to divide the Al-Aqsa Mosque and confiscate big area of the of Al-Aqsa Mosque. They want to do what they did. 1994, when Baruch Goldstein did this massacre, the his ideology was not mainstream. His ideology was, you know, denounced by the majority of the Israelis. Now, his followers, his colleagues, his supporters, his people are in the Israeli government. They are the ones, they are the lawmakers now. This is the difference between my childhood and now. So, as a child, I grew up as a child playing, cycling, going around in my own city with a few, settlers here and few soldiers. And the main milestone was the Ibrahim Mosque massacre. I finished my secondary school and I went into study engineering in Palestine Polytechnic University. That's my childhood.
What a wonderful story, but I know with that comes the difficulty of having the settlers, especially I know they closed the university, right? The Polytechnic University at one point, and then you were able to help reopen it.
Yes, the story of my activism, that sometimes as a Palestinian, you try to disconnect yourself from the occupation and you go low profile and you want to concentrate on your job, in your education, in your school, in your work, in your organization. But occupation doesn't allow you. They follow you to your school, to your job, to your work, to your university, to your neighborhood. So what happened? I had a dream to become a professor in engineering. So I was studying day and night to become an engineer, then to do postgraduate studies to reach my dream. In my last semester, 2003, the Israeli occupation closed my university. So one of the mornings, I went to my university. I found the campus sealed, closed. The doors were welded, and they put a paper: the university is closed for good. That was the turning point for me. I was ready to revenge using my skills, my engineering, electrical engineering skills, even to use violence. I was ready to do anything about what they did to me. I felt that they destroyed my future. And it was for me about education. It was not about occupation. So I was broken. I was very, very disappointed. It was my last semester after studying 4 years and a half continuously, day and night. Then the occupation, without mercy, without any excuse, they closed the university for good. As they are doing now to Gaza universities. The majority of the schools in Gaza and the majority of the universities were demolished by the Israeli military because they are the enemies of education. They are the enemies of civilization. And they know that Palestinians struggle against the occupation by education. Education is a resistance tool for us.
Mm-hmm.
So, so me, I didn't give up. I went back home and I searched. It was Yahoo, not Google, how to make a revolution. Luckily, what came first to me was Martin Luther King, anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, Gandhi. So I decided to talk to other students, and we agreed all together to challenge the Israeli military occupation closure of our university to get our degree. So it was about education. After campaigning, after protesting, after direct action, all the students did in the United States against the war, the Gaza war. They tried to stop us, they tried to threaten us, they tried to buy us. But as students, we felt the power of our unity as students, and the students can make revolutions. They can change governments, they can fight dictators, they can fight occupation, oppressors. So we insisted to stay and remain till we reopened our university. So me personally, I graduated as an engineer and as an activist. So since 2003, my life had track, two paths. One, engineering and working with the youth, with engineering, to train them to become craftspersons and design vocational training programs and supervise them. And the other side is nonviolence resistance and human rights advocate. So this is my university story, how I started from university, and this is how all the students in the world can start their life from university. So I encourage the students all the time, the university students, to take care of their education, their knowledge, and their experience. So they should rich, enrich their experience and their education and their knowledge. And if they want to really make the occupation and apartheid costly on the occupier, they should have it, have a very rich knowledge, experience, and education about how to fight it, and to have very strong educational degree to be able to be independent of anybody who tries to control them using their jobs, using their funding, using their need, as I did.
Amazing, very inspirational. And we have a saying, العلم سلاح, which is your education is a weapon. And that is exactly the story that he is telling us. And that is why we always say to educate yourselves and to use that. And your story is phenomenal. My other question is if you can talk about the restrictions placed on the Palestinians in AlKhaleel, especially in areas like Shuhada Street.
Hebron city is around 30 kilometers far from Jerusalem. I'm not allowed to go to Jerusalem as the majority of Palestinians in West Bank. So Hebron city is considered a microcosm of the occupation. If you want to learn about occupation and apartheid, you come to Hebron. Why you come to Hebron? Because Hebron is the only city after Jerusalem where Israeli settlers are living inside the city. So the first settlement was established in the West Bank was Kiryat Arba settlements. It was established 1969, 1970. Then the settlers broke into the city center of Hebron at Times Square in New York. If you know Times Square, this is Shuhada Street. Oxford Street in UK, in London. That's Shuhada Street. So they occupied one house of 1979, and they stayed there, and they tried to expand the settlements on the expense of the Palestinian human rights. So to stay there, the streets were closed, the markets were closed. You can see separation, segregation, and apartheid. What is apartheid? Many people in the US still don't define apartheid well. It's easy. We, as Palestinians, we live under the Israeli military law, which means non-violence resistance is not allowed. So, as you protest in the US, and you are very proud of your social justice and your progressive protests and attitudes, we, the Palestinians, we are not allowed. By military law, it's not allowed. Me, Isa, I was arrested, ill-treated, indicted, convicted in the military court because of my non-violence resistance. Not only me, many other Palestinian activists were arrested, detained, ill-treated for their non-violence approach. So first, under the military law, non-violence resistance is not allowed. Second, in the military system, you are guilty until you are proven innocent. The last story happened to me last Saturday. I participated in the BBC documentary which made by Louis Theroux, and it's called The Settlers. In the film, you can see the Israeli military soldiers asking me, "Are you a Palestinian?" I said, "Yes." And they told me to go and walk there in the side of the road. That reminded many people about the 30s and the 40s and how the Jews were treated in Europe. So they didn't like it. So they attacked me in my house. So the Israeli police told me, if you come to file a complaint to the Israeli police, you will be arrested for pushing them away from your house. You should let them do whatever they want. So that's the reality, that we, the Palestinians in Hebron and all over West Bank, but in Hebron, because the settlers live in the same neighborhood with us, we are under the Israeli military law, and our neighbors are under the Israeli civilian law. So if we have two sets of law in the same area for different people, that's apartheid. It's it reminded Richard Gere what he saw in Hebron and many other American celebrities and lawmakers. Hebron reminded them of the 1950s, the racism in the United States and the inequality between the black and the white. This is what's happening in Hebron. You can see it easy. In Hebron, you can see 1,800 shops. Times Square is closed in Hebron, which is Shuhada Street. 1,800 shops closed because of the closure policy. You will see 1,000 apartments. So ethnic cleansing and transfer of Palestinians. 1,000 Palestinian apartments became empty. In my lifetime, they changed the name of my neighborhood from Bab el Khan to Emek Hebron, Hebron Valley. Imagine that you live in an area, and in your lifetime, invaders come, occupy buildings, and they change your neighborhood name. So they are stealing my childhood. The street where I used to play, to cycle, to walk. My father used to hold my arm not to lose me. It's closed for me. I'm not allowed. And in the documentary, in the BBC documentary, openly he told me, "Are you Palestinian?" I was born there. You know, that's my neighborhood. That's my childhood. I was not allowed to walk with Louis and his film crew. So British filmmaker and his crew had more rights than me in my own street. You, as Americans, you will have more rights than me in my own city where I was born. The house where I was born is closed. I can see it, but I can't enter the house. Me and many other Palestinians. The signs, it's Hebrew signs,
So they
Hebrew
took it.
flags. They didn't take it, but it's closed. This is where I was born.
So you're not allowed to go and visit your home.
Yeah, where I was born. You know, now I have
Wow.
another house and they want to take it over as well. But the house where I was born, they closed it to take it in the future. They took the neighborhood. So you are not allowed to walk in your own streets, close shops and markets, change the names of the streets, segregation and separation. We call it Hebron model, which is the microcosm of the Israeli occupation and apartheid. Something else very important, they added to Hebron the surveillance and the artificial intelligence systems. 2021, they started testing on us, testing, simulation. They do simulation on us. The new technology. We are simulation objects. We are a lab for them as Palestinians. We have no rights. And without our consent, they started using artificial intelligence and surveillance to test it on us by profiling us, by spying on us, monitoring us with facial recognition, with body recognition, with voice recognition, with eyes recognition, with smart shooters. And they call it smart city. Smart city against us. It's another layer of security. It's a kind of intimidation to the society that you don't feel safe and with you don't feel privacy. You have no privacy. You feel that you are in public, even if you are in your house. So they are using drones, cameras, CCTV cameras, Blue Wolf and Red Wolf. I recommend that you read Amnesty International report about the surveillance in Hebron, and it was described as the apartheid and the racism of technology. How they use the technology only against us. They don't use this technology against the violent settlers. So this is the situation in Hebron. This model, Hebron model, we call it, was created by the Israeli fanatic and extremist settlers. Now they are in the government. Now they are taking this model all over West Bank and from the river to the sea. That one side is hidden. One side has no rights, no water, no enough electricity, no enough services. You don't feel safe in your house. You don't have visitors. You don't have national identity. On the other hand, what you hear is only Hebrew music, and you are not allowed to have your own social, national rights, and no social or national musics for you as a Palestinian. So we live in an open big jail, and they are using us as simulation objects for their technology, and we are almost hostages in our homes in Hebron.
Wow. And this is a story that we have been hearing for so many years, and the story of so many Palestinians in Al-Khalil in Hebron. My question, I wanted to talk about the Settlers documentary. Following your recent appearance on that documentary, The Settlers, you faced harassment and attacks by both the Israeli soldiers and the settlers at your home. Were any of those responsible held accountable or faced consequences for their actions?
In one hand, we are under the Israeli military law, and military law means no rights, no space for anything. So the military conviction rate toward us is 99.73. On the other hand, the Israeli settlers have impunity. There is no political will to make them accountable. And now, with the current Israeli government, they said it openly, we are not going to arrest the settlers for attacking Palestinians. And even the previous administration, American administration, was describing what settlers are doing to Palestinians in the West Bank as terror and pogroms. So since October 7th, the Israeli settler did 14, at least, that's what documented, 1,400 violent attacks toward Palestinians in the West Bank. 1,400, 1,400 something, 20 something, you know. Hundreds of Palestinians were injured. Few Palestinians, I think 3 or 4 Palestinians were killed by settlers in civilian uniform, because the settlers are in an army uniform as well. Because me, in October 7th, I was kidnapped by Israeli soldiers and settlers in an army uniform and sexually assaulted and beaten and tortured for 12 hours. So
When was
since
this?
October 7th, I was
Wow.
kidnapped, tortured, sexually assaulted by my neighbors and by the soldiers who are my neighbors too. The soldiers, the military base is few meters far from my house. It happened not only to me, to many, many other Palestinians. Torture. They break the bones of the people who are detained. Yesterday, Al Jazeera was showing how they are beating a Palestinian live on live, live stream. They beat us up. They do whatever they want. The soldiers and the settlers. But what about settler violence? They are not accountable. And the majority of the complaints are closed. I filed many, many complaints against settler who attacked me and attacked my house. And when I go to file a complaint, I go with video evidence about their attacks. So they stole my CCTV systems many times. They stole my lemon tree. I had a lemon tree and raising it, for 5 years. Then they came, uprooted the tree during the day, and I found them stealing it. They stole my water tanks because we don't have enough water. So we save water in water tanks to use them when we don't have water in the pipes. They stole the water tanks They threw the water on the ground and they stole the water tanks. They damaged my walls. They stole my construction materials. Last Saturday, they stole my rubbish container. Some tools, I used it for digging and for working the land. This is the settlers. They act with full impunity. And something very important, impunity in Israel and impunity according to many countries. There is no enough accountability for Israeli settlers, and there is no implementation of the international law on them because all settlements, according to the ICJ, and recently, and according to Geneva Convention Article 49, all the settlements are illegal, and it's a war crime. So the settlers are war criminals, and unfortunately, many of them they come from the United States, and they have a lot of money coming from the United States. In Hebron, the main organization who supports settlers, it's called Hebron Fund, a charity from New York. They give them a lot of money to steal our houses, to make our life harder, to attack children, attack women, and do restrictions on our houses. In Hebron, we have 22 checkpoints, 100 movement barriers. Since October 7th, the majority of the checkpoints are closed. You don't know when the checkpoint is open. These checkpoints, closure restrictions, it's all over West Bank. In West Bank, we have around 900 checkpoints. People don't know what's going on in the West Bank. 900 different checkpoints in the West Bank. So the checkpoints in the West Bank, you move between checkpoints, not between cities, from one to another. Each community, each village, each city now is alone, is separated from the other Palestinian communities. So we live in ghettos. This is the situation. Ghettos, isolated from each other, separated islands. So Hebron model was taken all over West Bank, and settlers attack daily Palestinian families, Palestinian farmers, Palestinian teachers, Palestinian students, and they attack the animals, they attack the land. They are the enemies of trees. They cut the trees, and the police didn't care about it. The Israeli police, because it's the only police who's responsible about settler violence, and the violent settlers are considered heroes in their communities and in many communities in the United States.
Wow, so they're considered heroes. That is something that everybody needs to understand, that when Israeli settlers or Israeli quote unquote civilians who are mainly always armed, correct, Isa?
Now, Itamar Ben-Gvir is from Hebron. He's the national security minister in Israel. He was with Kach. Kach was announced by the American State Department in late 80s and 90s as a terrorist organization. Terrorist organization. Imagine that, a member of the terrorist organization, and it was removed from the terrorist list 2022. Only 22, Itamar Ben-Gvir I think he was in the United States, and he had,
Mm-hmm.
just recently, and he went to universities. I think he went to Yale University
Yes.
to intimidate pro-Palestinian groups, and he yelled
Yep.
to Medea Benjamin, Code Pink, and dog, and
Yep.
described her as, as what he's doing, to be very honest, a child killer. That Itamar Ben-Gvir, who was, you know, one of the main supporters of CAC movement, and he saw Baruch Goldstein as a hero. He gets a lot of funding from the United States, and he gets a lot of support from the United States, and he now gets a lot of support from the current American administration. Unfortunately, this is something very important. They are not alone. They are backed by the American political system and by the American money. So your tax money is making our life harder and harder. And those settler leaders are the mainstream in the Israeli government, and they are the ones who are doing genocide in Gaza. and doing apartheid in the West Bank, and they are really making our life harder and harder, especially after October 7th. We live in hell. No jobs, no work, no schools, no universities, no water, no electricity, no very, they reduce the amount of electricity we use. They reduce the quantity of water. They steal the water from our water aquifers in area C in the West Bank, and they sell it us with high price, and they don't sell us the enough quantity we want. And Hebron and West Bank is fragmented and divided. They are raiding Jenin camp, raiding Tulkarim camp, and yesterday they killed a Palestinian in Naples, and they are raiding Naples, and they are doing everything they want to speed up annexation of the West Bank without the people. They want to annex the largest quantity of land without the Palestinians. So last year, 2024, they announced 24,000 Palestinian dunums, it's
Dunham is
1,000 square meter.
acres. Yeah,
Yes,
it's like
no, not
acres, I
acre.
believe. Okay.
Acre is
Oh,
bigger.
oh,
Acre
okay.
is,
Meters?
no, each one dunum is 1,000 square meter.
Okay.
The acre is more than 1,000 square meter. I think it's 5, 6 acres, something like that. 24,000 dunums. It's half of the quantity of land, amount of land, which was declared as a state land from 1993 to 2023. So in 1 year, they announced half of the amount of land. That's speeding up. They demolished more than 1,000 Palestinian structure in the West Bank and 200 houses in East Jerusalem. I mentioned more than 1,400 attacks. They opened illegal roads in the West Bank for settlements, about 114 kilometers in West Bank. They are building more and more settlements. They built around 60 new outposts, 59. Even in Area A, and B, which is under the Palestinian Authority control, they are demolishing houses and they are building outposts and settlements. And the Israeli government is giving money to the outpost, 75 million shekels, around $20,000, were given to illegal outposts and to the violent ones, especially the farms, the hilltop youth farms. So it's a state violence. It's the state terror toward Palestinians. This is what's going on. There is a war on Palestinians in Area C and in the West Bank to displace us, to transfer us, and to steal our land and make our life harder and harder to force us to leave.
Wow. And I know a lot of people don't know, maybe before even seeing the Settlers documentary and what's actually happening in the West Bank. And like you said, especially in AlKhaleel in Hebron. You kind of answered this in terms, but if you can just reiterate, like, how would you describe the role of the Israeli military and settlers in daily life for Palestinians in AlKhaleel?
It's not only an Al-Khalil. What I'm talking now, it's about whole West Bank. You know about Gaza, the genocide and the war on the Palestinians there. It's one
Mm-hmm.
side oppression, one side genocide, one side war on the civilians in Gaza. So many people know a little bit about what's going on in Gaza, but many people don't know what's going on in the West Bank. So this is why they were very angry about the BBC documentary, which exposed the reality of the Israeli violent, extreme settlers in the West Bank and what they do to Palestinians and how they work to steal the land of the Palestinian people. This is what's going on, not only in Hebron, in West Bank completely. So Israel is not defending itself. Israel is defending its occupation, its apartheid, its supremacy, and its illegal settlements. And all the Israeli institutions, they are there to embolden the occupation, to help the occupation, to help the occupiers. And after October 7th, we don't distinguish at all between Israeli settlers and Israeli soldiers. Itamar Ben-Gvir, this violent leader, gave out 150,000 rifles. So it's militias. The Israeli military is acting as a militia. Israeli
Mm-hmm.
settlers are acting as militias. Group attacks. So group of settlers, masks, they go and attack Palestinian civilians and Palestinian farmers and Palestinian villages. So we don't distinguish anymore. The same technology, they use it against us. And the Israeli military, they are full of settlers now because the majority of the settlers are reservists. So they kill Palestinians during the day in Gaza as soldiers, and they come to West Bank to kill Palestinians during the day. And the weekend they spend it in Europe. And sometimes they come to the US to visit their families and to do fundraising to do fundraising for drones, for what they call them smart systems to observe and profile Palestinians and violate our privacy, and to type in the checkpoints with their new technology and with the bulldozers. So we see the American administration, this one and the previous one, are part of the problem. They are not until now part of the solution. In the other hand, I want to thank you all who are watching me now. Be proud that we see your activism, and your activism means protection for us. Your activism is hope for us. Your activism and support is giving us really more commitment to stay in the land. We're staying in the land because of you and because of your voice. We are voiceless, and you are the voice of the voiceless. And you are really making a huge difference. And some people say they don't care. If they don't care, you would not see them stand on one feet when the Palestinian film No Other Land won Oscar, and when BBC showed the documentary The Settlers. So your work is very important. Your awareness work is very important. Your activism is very important. Your support to certain Palestinian groups, Palestinian NGOs, Palestinian organizations, you coming to Palestine is very, very important. Thank you. Thank you very much to all people who are really on the right side of history, and many Palestinians, to be very honest. They tell me in the street, normal Palestinians, and they know nothing about politics. Isa, we are not alone anymore. There are people, they care about us. They ask about us. They We mean to them. This is something very important. So thanks to you. Thanks for your work. Thanks for your commitment in our global peaceful struggle to make apartheid, genocide, known and costly for the occupiers and for the oppressors and for the, you know, and for their own supporters. One day we will make all accountable. The one who support the occupation will be accountable. I am very, very optimistic, by the way, about the future.
Absolutely. And that was, subhanAllah, that was my next question is how can people outside of Palestine support your efforts in a meaningful way? And you sort of kind of answered it right now, but just if you can elaborate more, because sometimes we
I read,
like
I
we
read your mind.
I know, wallah. La mashallah alayk. Sometimes a lot of us feel like we're not doing enough. What can we do more? We see Israel
One,
growing. Yeah, go
one,
ahead.
one thing I want you to do, to be united and to respect the diversity in the movement. It's something very important. Be united, work together with one goal, to make the occupation and apartheid known and costly on them. And be creative and make doing this part of your daily routine. One tweet is so important on us. One post is so important on us. Media is so important to us. So observe the media, push the media to tell the truth. And if they do tell the truth, thank them. If they don't, write to them. I want hundreds of thousands of emails to go to New York Times and Washington Post and other media outlets, CNN and Fox News, to tell them about the truth. Flood them with emails. And the other hand, the lawmakers, flood them with information, confront them, expose them, thank the ones who really speak about Palestine. Thanks the movement, the Black Lives Matters and other movements who are showing sympathy and solidarity with the Palestinian people. But I want you to be united and accept the differences on us and be engaged with the different organizations who are doing amazing work, especially the students. The students should be protected in all universities in the United States, and they should have a community. What made me very successful when I did confront the occupation and challenge the occupation in the second intifada, who closed my university, was my community. They gave me protection. They backed up me as a student. So the students needs you to be with them, needs to you to make them feel heroes and to make them feel that they are not alone. This is something very, very important. Do more of this kind of social media work. I want connections between you and Palestinian universities. And something very important, this is something very important. Level up Palestinian voices, level up Palestinian education, and you know how to do it. Level up Palestinian art, Palestinian sports, and treat Palestinian as a nation. This is something very important. Palestinians, they are a nation with history and culture and different religions. Christianity and Judaism and Islam is part of our culture and traditions as Palestinians. We're very proud of this diversity. We never deny that Jews and Christians and Muslims together, they lived in this holy land with equality. And this is what we are calling for now: justice, freedom, and equality for everybody. This is what we want. We don't want to remove anybody. This is something very important. We say it loud. Our cause is clean. Our cause is a moral cause. A moral code means it's not anti-Semitism or any phobia. Our cause is with all people to be equal and no small type of racism in it. And we don't want any anti-Semite person to be a friend of the Palestinian people. Anti-Semite people now from the United States and from Europe and other countries, they're friends of the occupation, not friends of us, because we have the morals. So please continue. What are you doing? Please continue your struggle, your global struggle to make occupation and apartheid and genocide costly. And to be very honest, we are winning. The Prime Minister of Israel is wanted to the International Criminal Court. The Israeli Prime Minister is wanted now. And many will follow him. I know that we have many other cases in the ICC. The occupation and the settlements was announced illegal by the ICJ. That's really important. Israel is labeled as an apartheid state. Israel is labeled as a genocide state. This is something very important. They are now paying a price. They are exposed because of your work. The ICC will not summon them without public opinion, without public support. It's your support, it's your work, and it's your great activism and smart activism in your own community. So continue with your protests. Continue with your direct action. Continue with your financial support to many Palestinian organizations and many Palestinian groups. And something else very important: think how to level up Palestinians and treat Palestinians as a nation, not as animals who are seeking food and shelter, as a nation with culture and religions and history and traditions.
Inshallah, we will take that message and we will continue And Alhamdulillah, you're right. Inshallah, Ben Gvir, it'll also be wanted, and Daniela Wise, and all of these Israeli terrorist leaders. I wanted to kind of wrap this up with my final question, and then we'll open it up to anybody that wants to ask any questions. Is if there's one message you want the world to hear right now, what is it?
The main message is that Israel is not defending itself. Israel is defending its occupation, its apartheid, its inequality, and they want Israel to be from the river to the sea without the Palestinians. And the Palestinians are struggling for peace. We are the ones who are struggling for peace, for justice, and for equality, and for protection of all human beings. This is the Palestinian cause. This is how we can make the occupation really suffer. And something else very important, without concrete actions to make the occupation and apartheid costly on the occupiers, on the Israeli government, on the Israeli officials, nothing will change.
You guys heard the message for the world from Issa Amro, the Palestinian activist who is very well known. And inshallah, this message, we will pass it along and we will cherish it and we will work to do our best to make Palestine free, inshallah, and see the liberation of Palestine. I'm going to open up the question and answer panel for the panelists. So go ahead, Elmo.
The ladies were here before me. I can wait till Ahlam and Janine finish because they were here before me. Salam alaikum Isa was here, but no, yeah, they were here before me.
It's okay.
يا
I go
عمر
in or
عادي.
yeah. Go ahead,
Okay.
Elmo, please. Thank
عيسى السلام عليكم أول شيء. تشرفت بمعرفتك ووجودك معنا يعني honestly like we're so honored to be in the same presence as you and actually to get to speak to you and be here with you in the same space. I would like to ask you a question. As you're aware, what's happening to the Palestinians didn't start on the 7th of October, but a lot of people can witness that what's been happening since the 7th of October became repetitive. Some people started losing hope. Some people stopped giving the attention it deserves, or stopped talking about Palestine the same way they should have been the whole time, non-stop. And like we're going to keep on seeing this happening, and it's not going to stop till justice and freedom is happening. But what would be your message to the people that stop their advocacy for Palestine because they either saw it's becoming repetitive and it's not changing and it's just the same old, nothing is going to happen, no one is going to get anything that they deserve, and like, what would be your message to these kind of people?
First, what are they doing is not useless, and it's so helpful to us because we are in defense. We are defending what is left, and we are defending the Palestinian human being. Your work protects me and protects many Palestinian children and many Palestinian women and many Palestinian civilians. So please keep going. Keep your activism and your work. This is what I tell them. Don't stop. Never stop. Because you really give us hope. You give us protection. You give us commitments. Because they kill us and they describe us as terrorists. But you describe them as offenders and as oppressors. And you describe us as innocent civilians and peaceful people who are trying to make a change. So it's very important what you do. Don't think they try to tell you that what you do is useless. No, it's so important now. Look how many people in the world know more about the reality of the occupation and know more about Palestinians. Something very important. So your work is very important. Your work is so helpful. Keep doing it. It's our duty to do it. It's as you pray 5 times as Muslims to God, you should do what you do for Palestine. And as Christians and as Jews, when they pray to God, when you pray to God, you should pray for us and to us and to all human beings to have a better life. So be sure that What you do is so important to us, and it's harmful to the occupiers. They don't want to listen to you. And look how they reacted to the students in the universities who are just asking small asks, PDS here, engagement there to put pressure to end the war and to end the funding. But it's your moral asks, non-violence asks, not to support and not to fund the war and not to fund the genocide, not to fund killing children and civilians and journalists, and not to destroy schools and universities in other part of the world. So really, your work is so important, and I know that the occupiers don't like it, and they want to stop it, and they try to send you messages. It's useless. Don't do it. Nothing is changing. No, there is a lot changing. You are changing the whole world. You are changing the whole world. We are almost there, guys. We need to transform the public support all over the world to political support, and you will see how peace will be possible very soon. Because we are the ones who are making peace. We want to make peace with the Israelis. We want to make peace with everybody in Palestine. It's not about removing anybody. We're the ones who see that we are responsible about everybody, not the opposite.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Elmo. Thank you, Isa. We'll go next to Ahlam.
Salam. يعطيك العافية. Thank you for being here and speaking with us. I did have a question because you are in AlKhaleel. It's up to you if you'd like to answer, but Chief, like, how are you not afraid of continuing to be like an activist, to continue activism with such heavy surveillance, such heavy occupation, like I've been to AlKhaleel. I've seen how many soldiers there are. I've seen how many weapons there are. It's very heavily monitored. There's a lot of eyes on everybody at AlKhaleel. So how do you continue your activism?
أهلا يا أحلام. أنا بتشرف فيكي, and it's my honor that you were in Hebron, and I hope that everybody watching us now to come and visit us in Hebron. And my PhD now is about surveillance and artificial intelligence. So I know everything about their surveillance and about their systems they do. And it's a duty. I have no other choice. What to do? To surrender? To give up? To give them my land? I am now using my fame to help my people, and it's a duty. It's a responsibility on me to be the voice of the Palestinian people who can't do what I'm doing. And I'm ready to pay the price. I did pay prices, and I'm ready to pay more prices. Many people in Palestine, they paid a high price for Palestine. And I'm ready to do so because I'm a Palestinian who believe that we were not born selfish. We were born to help other people and to help our people and to think about others. And this is what I'm doing. I'm thinking about the future of our children and all children in Palestine. I'm thinking about the future of women, our women, and all women in Palestine. I'm thinking about all civilian, all people, all human beings. And for me, human being comes first before a state. The states are existed and founded to help and protect the human beings, not the opposite. So it's my duty. It's a huge responsibility on me. I'm not the only Palestinians who's doing that. All Palestinian farmers, they struggle to reach their land. They are activists as well, and non-violence activists, and they deserve to be named as Gandhi. All the Palestinian women who decide to remain in Hebron, in H2, in South Mount Hebron, in Jordan Valley, in Borin, in Naples, in Jenin, who really, because the women are the ones who decide to remain. They are the ones that in our families, the women are the decision makers for their family. So they choose to remain in spite of the oppression, in spite of violence and the terror of the Israeli military and the Israeli settlers. So I'm not the only one. I'm part of my community. I'm lucky that I got some media coverage and some attention, and I speak English. So it's a duty. It tells me, Issa, you are more responsible than others to stay and remain. Did they threat to kill me? Yes, many times. Every day almost I hear it. I was arrested, ill-treated, physically beaten, uh, shot at me. So to be very honest, this is the life of a normal, ordinary Palestinian who lived under the Israeli occupation.
I have
Thank
one
you,
more
Ahlam. Go
question.
ahead. Mhm.
Yeah. Um so راح احكيها بالعربي بس عشان يعني احنا نفهم. طب انا فلسطينية، انا عايش برا. كيف تقدر تحكي انه ما بدك تطردهم؟ يعني كيف انت حكيت انه عاد بدك تعيش معاهم. عربياتي زبالة، انا اسفة بس عشان احكي لك يعني. بس كيف تقدر تحكي انه بدك تعيش معاهم وبدك تصلح شغلات يعني بعد كل هذا، بعد اللي سووا فيك وسووا في عيلتك؟
Uh, the question should be in English. We are talking about the ones who are not, settlers, who are not soldiers, and who didn't do any war crimes. Because
Okay.
I want anybody who attacked me to be accountable for what they did to me according to the international law.
Okay. Do you want me to
I'm
translate it
talking
يعني
about the
so
normal
everyone...
people.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I'm talking about the normal people who didn't participate in any harm.
Okay. Okay, yeah, my question was, how can you say that you want to live peacefully with them? It's because I misunderstood, and he meant, what we've said as well, that he wants the people who have not committed war crimes to live peacefully. Okay, thank you.
War criminals should be accountable for sure. No way to make equality with the supremacist in the United States. The system changed, but the supremacist, they stayed supremacist. The same with the occupiers, and the same with the Israeli settlers and the Israeli soldiers who committed war crimes and genocide. They should be accountable according to the international law, not according to my even opinion. It's international law. War crimes doesn't, I don't decide for it. It's war crimes. It's international law. It's so. There is a mechanism to make them accountable. Now there is double standards, and politics and interest not make them accountable. But one day, for sure, I'm very optimistic. They will be accountable.
Inshallah, inshallah, every single one, including, every settler that has caused violence and harassment, will be held accountable for everything that they have been doing for all of these decades, to the Palestinians. I will go next to Janine.
Oh, Assalamualaikum. Ahlam stole my question. I guess I have a two-part question.
Ahlam, give
One,
her back her question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Give her back the question quickly, or give
I,
her another question.
حاضر
I,
عمو, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna try.
Ahlam, يسألك.
So, we saw you in the documentary with Louis Theroux, and we saw how they prevented you from entering to a side of a street that you are normally allowed to enter. How often does that happen? Where you're assimilated and you've acclimated to the fact that you can go here or you can go there, and then the IDF immediately changes the subject, changes the route for you.
Janine,
Now,
they don't only prevent me from walking in the streets. Sometimes they prevent me and prevent my people to reach their homes. Some people sleep in the streets. Many times it was raining heavily and children were waiting at a checkpoint to go into their homes.
mhm,
It's militia, it's supremacist, psychopath people. They control us. They
yeah,
mean to make our life harder and harder. So it's not only walking in the street, it's a small part. Uh, BBC documentary showed part, samples of occupation. I
Yes.
started posting some videos of students are not able to reach their school. Ambulance is not able to reach patients on time. Teachers are not able to reach their schools. Doctors not able to reach their hospitals. So that was a kind of teaching the audience the reality of the apartheid. This is what I wanted to show, the reality of the Israeli apartheid, because many people deny it. Many people don't acknowledge or recognize Human Rights Watch, Amnesty, Al-Haq, even B'Tselem reports describing Israel as an apartheid from the river to the sea. It's not only in the West Bank. Even the Palestinians inside 48, they suffer from the apartheid policies. Nobody is living normally under this apartheid regime. So it's not about only me. It's about every Palestinian who's not able to reach his land, his city, his town, his community, his family. So it's a small example. This is, I don't know why they are surprised from the BBC documentary. Daniela White is there saying all the time a lot of she was inciting to violence, not only her. The Israeli finance minister said it to media, whip out Hawara. Whip out Hawara. It means remove Hawara, burn Hawara completely, and it was burned. Have officials. So it's not only settlers. Official Netanyahu said it's between civilized people, the war in Gaza, and uncivilized people. But it's the opposite. Yes, he's right. Because he meant himself uncivilized to destroy the schools and the hospitals and the universities and the civilian buildings in Gaza. And they described us as human animals. This is how they see us. Human animals, you know what it means, human animals? We have gates in our own cities. They close the gates. That's the end. We are inside. Not only Hebron, Nablus, Jenin, even Ramallah and Bethlehem, everywhere in Palestine. What I'm talking about Hebron, it's all over now. I say Hebronization, Hebron model was taken everywhere in the West Bank.
Okay, so I guess like knowing all of this, I want to understand how do you maintain such a positive attitude and not resort to, you know, violent means of resistance?
We do nonviolence resistance as Palestinians since the 30s. We had the longest strike in history in the 30s. So it's part of our culture, it's part of our traditions, and it's part of our religion as well. We do it with commitments, and we do it to neutralize their oppression and their military machines. And we do it as a community because the communities can't be defeated. The people can't be defeated. About my optimism, no one oppressor stayed forever. They all fail.
Sir, but which
And
strike are you talking about?
the strike on 1930 something, against the British mandate.
639?
Yes, I think so.
I
So
mean,
it's
it's
part.
true. He's not. I read a book that says that even the Israeli the Zionist, excuse me, Zionist magazines at the time said that they differentiated between the Palestinians and the agitators. That Palestinians were more reserved and they were sitting back and watching while the agitators were the ones that were conducting the violence.
Yes, a lot. Palestinians in general, they are peaceful. The majority of Palestinians are peaceful. And in the 80s, in the 70s, the first intifada was full of nonviolence activism. The people in Jerusalem, their metal detector, we call it the anti-metal detector protests in East Jerusalem won and prevented the occupation from installing metal detectors at Al-Aqsa Mosque. The right of return marches was described as non-violence resistance as well. Thousands and thousands of people were protesting, to end the siege of Gaza. Many of them were killed. So we do a lot. In the 80s, there is a film called 18 Wanted Cows. Watch the film. So it's not something new. It's there. I'm not the founder of the Palestinian peaceful nonviolence resistance. I say that existence is resistance too for us. Education is resistance to work. The workers who wake up at 3 a.m. to go to their work, they are resisting the reality which the occupation is trying to create for us. So Palestinians see active existence is resistance. As a community, we do it every day, but it's not described by international media. We hope that everybody should see the Palestinians as any community. We're human beings. And we try to change the reality. We're change makers. We don't accepting the occupation. We are not coexisting with the occupation and apartheid. We try to make changes.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Issa.
Thank you so much, Issa, and thank you for everything that you do.
Okay, we'll go to Sam. Hello, Sam.
Hi, how are you? Good to hear from
Good.
you, Issa. Good to see you. Hope you're doing as okay as possible. Yeah, I don't have any
Do you
questions.
know Sam, Issa?
Yes, I know Sam. Yes.
Yes, from Masafir Yatta. And as you guys know,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
Yeah.
yes,
Sam is a
he
great
also was a
activist. He's doing great work to keep the people in their land, to help the people to stay and remain and resist the ethnic cleansing in Masafir Yatta. It's one of the areas which is targeted by the Israeli occupation to be displaced and to be empty of Palestinians. They want the land there without the Palestinians. 3 days ago, they demolished Khallet al-Daba completely, a Palestinian town called Khallet al-Daba and Masafir Yatta completely. We try to rebuild, we try to bring back the families using non-violence resistance.
Inshallah, they'll rebuild again soon. Thank you for the kind words. And thank you for all of your hard, admirable, impressive work. Asif, I'm not in Masafir Yatta anymore, but inshallah, I'll be back soon, and hopefully we'll see each other
Your
again
heart
soon
is
in
there,
AlKhaleel.
Sam, your heart is there still.
Exactly. Always.
Appreciate you, Sam. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Issa Amro, for being with us today. Your wujudak and sumudak and everything that you are doing is absolutely, it's heroic, and you are an amazing Palestinian icon, and a lot of people follow in your footsteps. And we thank you so much for being with us today and joining us. And taking time for being with us today.
Can I
Thank
say
you,
something
and
real
I love
quick?
you all. And
Oh, may I
Janine?
just address Isa real quick? Yeah, Isa, I just want you to know that we all understand that there's a spectrum to this. There is no real blueprint to resistance, and I respect everything that you do. I respect the fact that you humanize us and you maintain that humanity, and I thank you for it.
thank you, Janine.
Thank you, Janine, and thank you, Isa. Thank you so much for being with us. We are honored to have you and to have been able to listen to you speak with us today. And we will carry your message, inshallah. And one day we will be reunited in a free and liberated Palestine.
Soon, I hope.
Allah yahmik, inshallah. Allah yahmik wa
تسلموا
yahmi
كثير إخوتي وأخواتي يسعدكم جميعا.
Please make sure you guys follow him and click on his profile here and follow him. He's also active on Instagram, so please make sure to follow him on Instagram. And we will see you soon, brother Isa.
الله يحميك يا رب.
yes.
الله يحميك يا رب ويحفظك
تسلموا
يا
تسلموا. يلا
مع
تصبحوا على خير.
السلامة.
انت من
It's
اهل
now
الخير.
after the midnight for me.
يعطيك
Good night.
العافية.
في امان الله يا غالي. الله يحميك يا رب ويحفظك.